All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the ninth edition of our Chamber Talk with Torrie. Joining me today is David Tanner. He's Director of Infrastructure and Operations with Amazon Web Services. So thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Torrie. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we're going to have a great discussion. We're going to cover quite a few little things about Amazon and operations and what you guys do and how you kind of impact the local economy and some new things you guys got coming down the pipeline and how people can see that. So let's just get started. Let's start off with a little bit of background about you. Where did you grow up and how did you get into Amazon and these positions?
Yeah. That's a subject that I always just kind of enjoy talking about. So I was born and raised in Pendleton, Oregon, class of 2000, the smoke-free class of 2000, as we called it when we were growing up. My father was the JCPenney's manager there on Main Street.
Yep.
From my mom may correct me on these dates, but I believe it was 1979 to about 1994.
Yes.
At which point he retired, which gave me the opportunity to coach all of my Little League teams, which was one of the best times of my life.
Right.
Good times.
Yes. Good times that impact our lives later on in life, huh?
Yeah. So that's kind of my background. My mom still lives there. My sister's a kindergarten teacher there in town. So that's a lot of fun. I went to Pendleton High School, graduated from Blue Mountain Community College with computer science and math degrees, and then went to Portland State from there, and started my tech career. And eventually, Amazon decided to start building some data centers over here close to home, and it turned into a pretty perfect opportunity for me. Right place, right time. I was actually the first employee that was locally hired back in 2011, and been here ever since.
That's amazing. And to utilize that tech degree, because, back in the day you were like, how am I going to utilize this tech degree, right? And then here we are. We're so tech driven and focused these days.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because I think one of my older sisters sort of planted the seed in my head of what a tech career could be in the future. And I had this vision of I'd be a network engineer who can work remotely and maybe live on a sailboat. And, who knows where I'll be. And it's kind of funny to see how actually that is kind of a reality. Some people can do that.
It really is. Yes, it is it's a job with remote opportunities to it.
Yeah, it's been a really fun career, and I've really enjoyed my time at Amazon.
That's fun. That's awesome. So, what got you interested in going to work for Amazon?
Sure. Yeah, so when I had first moved back to the area, my father was ill at the time with Alzheimer's, and so I was going to be here no matter what.
Right.
No matter what that would do to my career. And so I think I was here for about 10 months, and I actually worked with Community Bank, who you're probably familiar with.
Yeah.
Over in Pendleton Community Bank, we had a data center, which consisted of, I want to say, maybe 25 servers.
Right.
I knew them all by name. I knew everything each one of those servers was doing.
Right.
A little bit different scale. We had a great time there. But after about 10 months, I was contacted by Amazon and started looking into it. And I didn't really know anything about AWS. I don't think I'd even heard of AWS at the time.
Right.
It was pretty new still at that time. But it didn't take much research, and obviously Amazon was a well-known company at the time, to see what an incredible opportunity it could be.
Right. So you mentioned not knowing what AWS is, So we have Amazon and we have Amazon Web Services. Can you tell us a little bit of the difference in that?
Yeah, definitely. This is probably a conversation I've been having for about 12 years. I think the first time was probably at Abby's Pizza in Pendleton with my mom and dad, and they're saying, now, what is Amazon Web Services? I think that's how long I've been answering that question. Amazon, everybody knows Amazon, right?
Yeah.
It's the e-commerce site we all know and love, and maybe cringe when we see our credit card statement.
Drop ship your front porch every day.
Yeah. Keep the UPS drivers busy, all that good stuff. AWS is cloud computing, right? One of the ways I like to start that conversation is just say, someone who says, "Oh, I never use the cloud," or "That doesn't affect my life. What does this mean to me?" And then they take out their phone, and within a minute they Google something, and then they post something on social media, and then they get an alert. And, reaches out to them on Instagram or what have you. And so, smartphones are a direct conduit into the cloud that we're all plugged into.
Right.
But the cloud facilitates so many things, right? One of the big things in the media today is all the things about AI and machine learning. All of that processing happens in data centers. One of our biggest customers that I enjoy talking about, because I'm a really big sports guy, is the NFL.
NFL, yes. Right? You see the little logo down there in the corner now.
Yeah. Next Gen Stats is one of the big things you see advertised on there, and those are really cool. Really cool what we've been able to do there. I say we. I have had no part in it.
Right.
But I will take some.
You work for the company, right?
But they're actually using RFID tags, so radio frequency identification tags, on players and the ball to track within an inch. How fast.
So that's how they're collecting that data.
Location, to provide new insights.
Wow. That's a whole conversation we could have on its own,
right?
Truthfully.
The potential of that is staggering. Quick sidebar, which probably is only interesting to a handful of people, but I'm a big San Francisco Giants fan. And we lost in the playoffs to the Dodgers a couple of years ago on a really bad call. The first thing I thought of is, can't we put an RFID tag on that ball, and then we could have proven that was a ball.
Right, and
we wouldn't have lost.
Right.
At least not yet. So,
not yet.
A lot of potential there. Really cool to be a part of. And all of that is processed within our cloud.
In the cloud. And, that's just real-time stats and real-time data that, this world's driven off of anymore is data.
Yeah, more and more.
That's interesting to how that process works. Like I said, that's a whole other conversation we could have. Sidebar. I'm a huge sports nut myself, so growing up in the collegiate softball level and everything else, so I understand the passion and love for those bad calls and good calls.
Yeah.
So. You touched on it also about your career at AWS. Talk about your journey and how that's looked through Amazon.
Yeah. So I started out, network engineering was kind of my passion in the tech world. For whatever reason, it clicked well with my brain. I tried coding and software development. It wasn't really my jam. Found networking and really enjoyed it. So that was my ambition, was to be a network engineer and kind of go as far as I could on that, technical subject matter expert kind of track. Leadership was not actually something that I was looking for or necessarily thought that I would, have a knack for or anything. But life has a way of leading us in a direction that isn't necessarily the one that we planned out for ourselves, thankfully. So when I joined Amazon here, I joined as a data center technician. Racking servers and switches into 4-post racks, running cabling, making drawings and cut sheets, doing everything that we needed to do in order to launch the data centers. Was a hands-on technician. From there, I was able to be promoted to a lead data center technician, so I started to have some of those responsibilities. And after I think about another year, I reached kind of a fork in the road where I had an opportunity to transition into a network engineering position. I was spending about half my time in those days doing that. But it would mean moving to Seattle.
Oh, gotcha.
Which, I had moved kind of to this area for a reason.
Right.
And it didn't really make sense to us. And it wasn't really appealing to us to be in the larger urban environment either. And so we stayed locally, and then an opportunity came about to go into management. And I kind of hesitantly accepted and spent about a year getting my feet wet and determining if it's what I wanted to lead. Yeah. And it finally, for me, I would say about 9 or 10 months in, it really clicked for me, where being able to facilitate a team of people accomplishing a goal and getting something done beyond just me driving my own efforts.
Right.
I think my eyes were opened to how rewarding that could be. I kind of liken it to the joy of being the coach.
I would say the coach
instead
of the team.
Player.
Right. Yep.
When I'm growing up, I think as many of us do, we think it's all about being a player.
Right.
Eventually, you get too old to be a player, so you'll be a coach.
Right.
But you don't really give it the
Right.
credit it deserves.
Yeah.
There's so much to it.
There is so much. Yeah.
I've ever since I've just kind of been on this journey and trying to learn how to be a better leader and support the community.
Yeah. That's exciting. So most people have heard about these the Amazon data centers. What do they do?
Yeah, another good question. Yeah, you know, it's funny because we talk about all this high technology and things of that nature, but it's really quite simple. The cloud is just a lot of computers. So, you know, inside a data center, you're going to find tens of hundreds, maybe even millions of individual computers and servers, all humming away, processing for our multitude of customers, right? And then the structures themselves are designed to keep the services running with high availability. We call it kind of an industry standard that's always been a target. It's called 5 nines, meaning everything is available, 99.999% of the time. We actually strive for, greater than that and achieve it. But that's what it's really all about. And, one of the cool things about centralized data centers like this, where we're serving multiple customers and leveraging virtualization on the servers, is we're able to maximize our utilization of those resources. If you think about a data center on premises at an individual company, for example, how often are they fully utilizing that processing power? Not as often as we are. So it's also helps us to be better stewards of our environment. At the end of the day.
That's interesting. And I'll have to give a plug for the AWS's exhibit here at the Safe Center, where the chamber offices is located within the Safe Center. And we have an exhibit at the Safe Center that talks about AWS, and it kind of gives you an image in the background of what it kind of data center looks like. And then we have some great stuff coming that'll explain a lot more of that. But yeah, it's interesting to see how high tech they are inside, and that lights and the racking and all that stuff from the outside inside,
That's my favorite part is whenever you get a chance to be in the data hall and turn off the lights and just see all the blinky lights. It's really beautiful. Yeah.
It is probably pretty cool. So Amazon or AWS, I should say, has been in Eastern Oregon since 2011. What's the impact that AWS data centers had over the decade in our Eastern Oregon?
Yeah. I mean, the first one I would say is jobs. The availability of different types of jobs in the area that the area hasn't necessarily seen before, and that's probably the first one. There's over 5,000 local workers currently, employed as a result of our presence here in our data centers. That's including construction and vendors, HVAC, electrical, all kinds of jobs.
Security.
IT, engineering, security, yes. So that's the first one. I would say is, kids like me growing up, you can start a tech career here, right?
Right. And out here in Eastern Oregon in the farm world, you can have it.
Yeah, exactly. You can start a tech career and still live in Boardman, Oregon.
Yes.
You can advance then, once you get into that career, you can advance it in so many different directions within a company like Amazon. If you want to learn how to be a technical program manager, you can do that, and we need them. That's the other thing here is that Amazon needs talented people to be able to grow and develop and fill all of these critical roles over time. And so the opportunity speaks for itself. One of my favorite numbers to quote in terms of our impact in this area has got to be, from 2012 to 2021, we've invested $15.6 billion across Monroe and Umatilla counties. Just staggering numbers.
We're talking not M, we're talking B, billions. Isn't that amazing, that impact? And that impact reaches so much further than what they think it does, you know what I mean? Because it affects our kids. I mean, it makes the future for our kids better on their education, and so there's so many opportunities out there with that investment comes to locally.
And that's one of the most important things too, right? Is that early education, and one of the reasons I'm so excited to be here today and be able to talk about these things is that one of the keys for people being able to take advantage of some of these opportunities as well is that they have to know about them, and know what it might feel like, what it might look like. Is that a career? Is that something I might want to do? So over the years, we've continued to increase our efforts to make those connections.
Yes. as in we have a Think Big Space classroom here at the Sage Center as well.
Absolutely.
And it focused on the STEM education learning and how that focused with what AWS does and teaches kids and opportunities. I mean, the kids that leave the teachers come in here for a week or 2 days or whatever, and they're like, this is the best time of my career, my teaching career for the year, is coming to into the Think Big Space and being able to watch these kids create and collaborate on projects and code. And kids that never even thought they wanted to do that, at the end of it they're like, oh, I think I'm going to do this, and they leave with these smiles on their faces. It's so fun to see that impact, and just thankful for what Amazon Web Services does for our community, and that's part of it.
Oh, that's amazing. Really cool to hear.
Yeah, it's fun. So it's fun to come and watch, and we get to watch through the window of the kids working, and it's a great piece. So a little off track on that one, but so I have some other questions here. When you talk about these positions and working at Amazon Web Services, training and education, what's needed to be to work at the data centers?
Sure. Yeah. So there's there's a lot of different roles in data centers, right? Everything from entry level to engineering all the way into leadership.
Mm-hmm.
When I first started back in the early days, you needed some good tech skills and experience to be able to come in with a small team and build and launch these data centers. But it's been really cool to participate over the years in helping to standardize a lot of processes, establish some of what we call directed work tooling, which helps guide technicians through the next step of the task and essentially teach them along the way, right? So we've been able to open the door to a lot of entry-level positions that don't have really any skill set required coming in, and then folks get trained on the job and can learn and grow from there. But in addition to that, it's also been the investments locally in helping people gain skills before pursuing roles in the data centers. So we've partnered with Blue Mountain Community College, soft spot in my heart as an alumni myself, right? 2002. So pretty cool to be able to circle back and help kind of develop curriculum there and help define these certificate programs that can get people in the door, right?
What are those certificate programs?
Yeah, so the Data Center, let's see if I can quote the exact name, Data Center Technician Training Program.
Yeah.
So last year we contributed $100,000 in scholarships to that program as well. And many of our employees today are folks who have gone through those programs at BNCC.
And how long is that certification program? Somebody's watching this and they're interested in going through that, what's that commitment?
I'm 90% sure it's 18 months.
Okay. If not, you can reach out to somebody.
Pete Hernberg, if you're out there, I'm sorry if I got that wrong. But yeah, it's kind of when I went to Blue Mountain, it was a great experience. I spent 2 years. I got my associate's degrees and everything, computer science, etc. And then I kind of moved on. If I had the opportunity at that time to do a more abbreviated certificate program that's targeted at exactly what I wanted to do,
right?
I probably would have taken advantage of that.
Absolutely,
I probably would have.
If we're close in the ballpark of 18 months, 18 months is something for a kid can really focus on affordability, opportunity, and then once that's done and you go to work for Amazon Web Services, from there, your career is endless, really. I mean, what do they employ? Over 2 million people across the globe?
1.7 million.
1.7 million. There you go. So that's pretty staggering number when you think about the impact it has, not only locally, but globally. So it's exciting. Yeah. And then we talked about these jobs and getting this education, these certifications. Do you hire locally?
Oh, yes.
And how does that look?
Yeah. Hiring locally is basically the top priority in our strategy. It's not an easy place to recruit people in either. A lot of people that we interview, they've never heard of the area, they need to learn about the area. You know how that goes. So I've also had the pleasure of having conversations with prospective candidates who may want to relocate to the area and help describe it to them as someone who's who's from here.
Born and raised.
Yeah.
You only understand if you're born and raised. I'm
Yeah.
born and raised right here in Morrow County, so I get the whole like,
Yeah.
you know, it's in you, it's in your blood, it's in your family, it's here. But if you're outside looking in, this is not the most appealing place to live.
Yeah.
And we're working really hard at making it more appealing and get more amenities to come in and expand our housing opportunities and stuff like that. So we can, but
and it's seen. It's seen.
But hiring locally is so amazing to impact
It
those
is.
families and give those kids opportunities or these people opportunities.
And people that people that we hire locally, they've got roots.
Yes.
And they go deep,
Yeah.
and they go all in and commit to these roles. So I think it's the best business strategy for us, and it's the best thing for the community. So yeah, I mean, all of the things we've talked about in terms of partnership with BMCC, I think Big Space you referenced, supporting STEAM education. It's all about helping grow the local folks that are interested in those roles to help them be prepared for those roles in the future.
Right. Yeah, one of my questions was how's AWS work to support local community? And we've kind of touched on some of them. Is there some that you haven't touched on? Or?
Yeah, there is. So through our AWS in Communities program,
Yes.
which has been really impressive, last year alone we had 2,300 volunteer hours from our employees
Yes.
out in the community.
Yeah.
So again, in terms of hiring locally, those local employees that are working for us, they're passionate about their community. They want to give back.
They do.
They want to give back,
Yes.
and it's very apparent. And so, all we have to do is kind of point them in the direction, connect them with somewhere to go and volunteer and help, and they're all over it. So everything from the Humane Society in Hermiston will go walk the dogs,
Yeah.
or, things like
Food
that.
pantry.
Boardman
They come.
Food Pantry.
Yes.
Packing all up.
Yeah.
Packing all.
My chamber, our events, they come and help support me with all of our events anytime. Organize, help, pack, you name it. They're
Wow.
always there. They help with the Harvest Festival that the State Center holds for Saturday of October.
Yeah.
Helping our kids' crafts, doing some STEM activities. So
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
really blessed to have that support that way.
It's good to hear. No, it's really fun to be a part of.
Mhm.
The fact that we're to be at a company like this where we do send our employees out. It
Yeah.
might be a work day, but
Yep.
they're not there. They're at
Right.
the food pantry packing boxes.
Packing boxes. And that's a key piece, because it's not happening on their own time and not taken away from their own families, and the company sees that value in that.
Yeah.
That's a huge value. I mean, it doesn't have a monetary value, but it has a personal value too.
Mhm.
And that's great.
As value as a member of the community.
Yes, exactly. So there is a new docu-series being featured on some local residents. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we're really excited about the docuseries. It's called Data Centered.
Okay.
Yep, and it's a 5-part short form documentary series, kind of highlighting from all angles the impact of AWS's presence in Eastern Oregon to kind of help tell the story, and help shed some light on what we're doing.
Yeah.
So the first episode came out on May 31st.
Okay.
They'll be coming out every 2 weeks on, I believe that's Wednesdays, through the end of July.
Okay.
And later in the year, I believe it's aimed at October, there's actually going to be kind of a premiere event here locally. So there'll be more details to share on
about
that.
that.
Yep.
Perfect.
I'm hoping there'll be a nice red carpet.
Right? Wouldn't that be fun? Yeah. And if people want to follow the docu-series and when they launch and stuff like that, how can they view those?
Yeah, well, so the first thing, my hope is that it goes viral and no one can avoid seeing them.
Right,
But
yes.
aside from that, aboutamazon.com is our blog, and it's featured there,
Okay.
as well as on our YouTube channel for AWS.
Mhm.
So those are both great ways to find the series.
Perfect. And since I'm just learning about this docu-series, I'm kind of excited about this. So you probably will be seeing it on the Chamber Facebook page. We'll be
Good.
sharing some links to it and getting everybody out there. And now that we talked about it, we'll go share it and continue to share the series and see the impact that Amazon Web Services had on our community since 2011.
Excellent. Very
Yeah.
excited.
So great discussion today. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you.
I love this. This is, like I said, this is my 9th edition of Chamber Talk with Torrie. and it just continues to grow. So I just want to say, if you viewers out there, if you were not able to plug in today, you can rewatch this video. We also download this to the Boardman Chamber of Commerce's YouTube channel and share the link there, and you can view it from our website. And we just say thank you for listening today, Chamber friends, and we look forward to talking to you the next time. And I hope everybody has a very blessed day, and try to keep your feet planted on the ground with our wind out there today. But have a great afternoon, and we'll see you all later at the next one.
Thank you.